Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Scott Manning coming to you from my home here in Columbus. I want to thank all my loyal viewers for tuning in here today. I've got to excuse me, I'm a little bit hoarse, but I do have a sore throat and a little bit of a cold here. Excuse me. Well, I got some Major League news in the NBA. It looks like Andrew Wiggins is going to be out of the Cavs before he even starts because they're trying to get Kevin Love from the Timberwolves to come over and play. So they're going to get Kevin Love. The Cavs are willing to trade Andrew Wiggins. Now, folks, what do you think of that decision? Do you think the Cavs messed up again? Or do you think the Cavs are in the right doing what they're doing? And everybody realizes sometimes that you got to do what you got to do. And I don't think it's a good decision because I think the Cavs have a chance to really do some damage. If they get rid of Andrew Wiggins, I think it's going to be a bad move because, yes, they have LeBron James coming back, but they got some young guys. But maybe, I don't know what it is about me, but if you get the number one draft pick in the NBA draft, you keep that pick. You picked him, you need to keep him. You need to give him a chance to prove himself. And I think, personally myself, it's bad. I think they made a bad decision because I think, one, you got to give Andrew Wiggins a chance to prove himself. But they want Kevin Love at the Timberwolves. So my question is, are they going to send him to Minnesota and let Kevin Love come to Cleveland? We don't know for sure. Also, too, I've also learned that LeBron James is undecided on his jersey number. Because you remember when he was in Cleveland, he wore number 23 for the Cavs. He played in Cleveland 4 years ago before he left. His jersey number got changed to number 6 when he went to play for the Miami Heat. So, I'm going to let you folks have your say. What should LeBron's jersey number be when he comes back to Cleveland? You decide. Drop me a line. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. And I'm on Google+. So just to let you know what my take is. Also, as well, just a reminder. Remember those 2 stories I told you the other night about Disco Demolition Night in Chicago back in '79 and Cleveland 10 Cent Beer Night? I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear which between these 2 promotions, which you think was the most crazy. And just as a reminder, I'll go ahead and repeat. Remember, this is from Disco Demolition Night in 1979. Back in 1979, the White Sox were not that good. They only had like 6,000 to 12,000 people show up to their ball games. And it was towards the end of the disco revolution. Steve Dahl, a rock disc jockey of Wolf 98 in Chicago, came up with this idea. And you know how Bill Beck was. He was the owner of the White Sox. He was known for crazy promotions and crazy things in Chicago back in the 70s. Harry Carey, who was the White Sox play-by-play man, said it was amazing that they did not have a pot concession. Of all the pot that was being smoked at the ballpark, he said he'd never seen so much smoke a day in his life. Admission was and basically admission that night was only $1 if you contributed a disco if you bought an album. Mike Beck, who was actually Bill Beck's son, who was the director of promotions for Comiskey Park, said there were people sneaking into the park. They must have had about 72,000 people there that night. The Tigers won Game 1 4-1, and in between the day game of the doubleheader and between the first game and the second game, they decided to let Steve Dahl have his moment of glory. They put all the disco records into a box and they blew them up. They figured, okay, and after his anti-disco army left, after him and his anti-disco army left, they figured, okay, nothing else is going to happen. Boy, were they so wrong. Fans were running down out of the field. There was one fan that actually climbed down the right field foul pole. And if you look back at the replay, I mean, I couldn't believe it. Fans were out on the field. I think they've almost been high from all the pot they've been smoking. Bill Beck, the owner of the White Sox, was trying to get everybody to go back into the crowd and go back and take their seats so they could play the second game. Even Harry Carey, the White Sox announcer, was like, "Can you hear me out there? Holy cow! What do y'all say we regain our seats so we can play baseball again, huh?" And after about 20 minutes of singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," it didn't work. So 40 minutes later, the Chicago police had to come out and get involved in riot gear. And that's when all those anti-disco lovers, that's when their anti-disco army running for the hills. They tried to get the field fixed up in time, tried to get to play the game. The umpiring crew and the president of the American League said the game had to be forfeit. They had to forfeit because the playing conditions were not that good. So that's Disco Demolition Night in 1979. Now, Clevelanders, this one is for you. This is 1974. It was Cleveland 10-cent beer night. 6 days earlier, in 1974, the Indians and the Rangers played a regular season game, which featured a bench clearing brawl, and Billy Martin, the then Rangers manager, made the comment saying, "We don't have anything to worry. The Rangers have nothing to worry about because basically Cleveland does not have enough fans, so we're not going to worry about retaliation." Oh, they should not have said that because 6 days later they had 10-cent beer night. Basically, they had 10-cent beer night. It was bad. I mean, I'd never seen a nightmare like this a day in my life, and I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. Now, Cleveland had been in the national spotlight before. It was old Municipal Stadium in 1969. The Cuyahoga River caught fire because of pollution. In 1972, Mayor Ralph Burke's hair caught fire. The only thing that didn't catch fire was the Indians. So on June 4th, 1974, the Indians needed to catch fire somehow. So this brought on 10-cent beer. Admission was $1. For 50 cents, you could get a ticket in the bleachers and 5 beers. Now that was crazy. 12 ounces of cheap beer were about to begin 9 ounces. Was about to begin 9 innings of trouble. By the third inning, the bleachers were loaded, literally. There was one band that tried to climb out down from the bleacher seats just to get down and kiss the umpire. And in between innings, between the 5th and 6th inning, Mike Hargrove, who was a Texas Rangers first baseman, who ironically would go on to manage the Indians a little bit later on, just FYI. They were throwing hot dogs at him. A cheap bottle of wine was thrown at him. Then everybody started to realize it was getting serious. So, I mean, so about the 6th inning, it was getting out of control. It was so bad. So basically, they had to forfeit the game a little later on because fans were running out on the field after being so drunk. I mean, hot dogs were being thrown at the Rangers players. Somebody had the nerve to throw a cherry bomb into the Rangers dugout. And then finally, when one of the Rangers players was getting attacked, the Texas Rangers came out to try to help him out. And if it weren't for the Cleveland players trying to keep the Cleveland fans at bay, this would have turned into a real tragedy. And in the end, 3 bases were stolen. Tons of beer was consumed. And what didn't help was they only had 2 girls working the beer trucks that night. One was collecting the money. The one was trying to pour the beer. Some of the fans threw a table at the beer trucks, and the girls said, "We're not having no part of this. We're out of here." They were fans filling up their own containers full of beer, and there were a few fans that decided to try to open up the tap and just drink from the tap themselves. I mean, hey, it's Cleveland. And Cleveland's got some of the most diehard sports fans in the world. So don't you ever forget that either. We may not have won a championship in about 50 to 100 years, but by golly, we got some of the best fans in the world. But I will say this. I mean, by the 9th inning, it was turned into a full-scale riot. It was bad. The Indians had to forfeit the game because it was just so bad. It was just a nightmare. And I mean, after the stadium had closed, all the lights were turned out. There were still 15 teenagers down there on the field, waiting for the Rangers to come out and fight. And somebody from the Cleveland Plain Dealers said, it was a little kid that punched somebody from the Cleveland Plain Dealers. He was like, it hit him in the jaw and said, "It didn't faze me. He hit like a girl." So the Cleveland Police Department was called in, and in the end, they had to call the Cleveland SWAT team. Called the Cleveland SWAT team, and it was so bad. I mean, Diamond Beer Night was not a good idea, and the city of Cleveland vowed not to do it. You're like, are you kidding? 1 month later, they did it again. Only this time, you can get in for $1, but you were limited to only 2 beer tickets. And there was 4 times the security for the next game. So, once again, drop me a line. Which promotion do you think was the most crazy? Disco Demolition Night in Chicago for 1979, or Cleveland 10-cent beer night for 1974. So it doesn't matter if you live in Cleveland or Chicago or whatever sports market you live in. You can always remember one thing. Bill Beck of the White Sox, the owner of the White Sox at one time, came up with some of the most crazy promotions. And the city of Cleveland is the city of Cleveland. We have the most diehard sports fans in the world. We may have lost Old Municipal Stadium, but by golly, the city of Cleveland has the best fans in the world. So I'd love to hear from you on what I've talked about today. Which promotion do you think was the most crazy? Was it Dime a Beer Night in Cleveland, or Disco Demolition Night in Chicago? And also, too, drop me a line. What do you think about LeBron James? What do you think? Do you think LeBron James should wear number 6 or number 23 when he comes to Cleveland? Or give me your reaction about the Cavs wanting to trade Kevin Love. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, and I'm also on Google Plus. So you folks have a good day. This is Scott Manning saying, have a wonderful day. And goodbye.